Look at the look up here at the top. Max Miller, like Mac Miller probably. Anyways, I want this to be kind of simple. All right, you see ducks return to a Long Island farm that lost its entire flock. And a lot of this decode's just going to be like the symbolism, what I see, and how it connects to other trending stories that we have had. Okay, but I will read a few paragraphs here and then I'll attempt to play a video. All right, so here I go. Doug Corwin knew there was a problem at his family's commercial duck farm in Long Island when he spotted scores of dead or lethargic birds during a barn inspection in January. Within days, Crescent Farm became a casualty of the global avian flu outbreak, one of many farms around the U.S. that had to cull their entire flock, sending the prices of eggs and other agricultural commodities soaring. Now the more than century old farm, the last duck farm remaining in New York, in a New York region once synonymous with the culinary delicacy, is cautiously rebuilding. But for Corwin, a 66-year-old fourth generation farmer, and I think you see him right there, it's not enough to bring the farm back to its 100,000 bird capacity. With ducks hatched from eggs spared from slaughter, he's working to preserve the unique lineage of fowl that's allowed his family's farm to thrive even as others on Long Island fell by the wayside, all while worrying that another flu outbreak would finally wipe him out. Okay, so it's just a bunch of whatever with those paragraphs. Let's go ahead and watch this video.
Well, a family-owned duck farm on Long Island that was forced to destroy its entire flock because of bird flu is now rebuilding. We first told you about the Crescent Duck Farm back in February. It is now slowly getting back to its 100,000 bird capacity at its AQUEBOGUE farm. Last month, the farm received about 900 ducks from a nearby farm that were raised mostly in quarantine. Another batch arrived last week, and one is expected soon. But the farm's owner says that he is concerned about further outbreaks.
I'm arguing very hard that the United States needs to change its policy on vaccinations. There are many vaccines that work for this. We're just not allowed to use them. Due to political pressure, export concerns, I would sleep an awful lot better at night. But right now, I'm very nervous.
Well, the CDC says nearly 175 million birds have been affected by the bird flu since 2022. The owner of the farm hopes to have ducks ready to be processed and brought to market by the end of next summer. Crescent Farm is the only commercial duck operation on Long Island.
All right. And this makes me think of maybe symbolism on another scale, too. How they look at us, too. Like, we're just ducks, right? We're just cattle all herded up. That's kind of what it makes me think of. But I want you to see this.
Well, a family-owned duck farm,
if it's going to let me change
on Long Island that was forced to destroy
slides. Come on, please let me change slide.
Your flock.
Google Slides, do you think we can change this where we can just go right to the next slide and I don't have to back out every time? Jesus Christ. But anyways, it just sounds like a bunch of nonsense to me. I know that it was just Kendrick Lamar's birthday, okay? And look at his last name is Duckworth. So all of this duck energy, it's all just lingering around the same time for a reason. And I know just 3 days ago it was Kendrick Lamar's birthday, June 17. You see his last name is Duckworth. Okay? So we get this bird flu duck story, okay? And don't forget he had beef with Drake, okay? And a drake is a duck. Don't forget that. A male is called a drake, and the female is called a duck. You see, that's what it says right there. You see that? So I think that's interesting that we're just a few days after Kendrick Lamar's birthday and he's got the Duck last name, Duckworth. Also, I think this is cool because the Indiana Fever are heavily trending right now with that so-called brawl. Okay? Indiana Fever. And we get this bird flu story. Flu, fever, Duckworth, Kendrick Lamar. Also, ducks return to a Long Island farm. Long Island sounds like Love Island. And we have a new season of Love Island. Okay, so that's it. I just wanted to give you just a little bit of the symbolism with the story. I actually covered this bird flu story in the past. I don't think I found any connections. I'm going to pull it up right here. Here it is right here. Now this was in Texas, so the largest fresh egg producer in the US has found bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant. You see, I mean, I'm all over these stories. There might be a lot of COVID energy as well. As you see, it's trending right here. New COVID-19 variant causes razor blade throat symptoms. I ain't gonna lie, my throat kind of felt like that the other day. But this energy's lingering, right? You know, the Indiana fever, bird flu. You heard the guy in the video referring to the vaccines, right? So yeah, maybe something with that, but let me pull up this other breakdown I did. Those were some nice slides I put together. So that was from April 2nd, 2024. That one. Wow, time flies, doesn't it? And you just see some connections that I made with that decode right there. I was just going to see if anything else matches. That's nice. Look at that right there. Look at eggs, got that 19 right there. You see that? Bird flu, also known as H5N1 or avian influenza. Look at that, H5N1 and egg. You get 19 right there. And we just looked at COVID 19. Was this around Easter time? See that? All right, so yeah, that's just a look at some of those. Oh, that was around Easter. Man, that's a nice thumbnail I put together there. But yeah, I just wanted to show you the symbolism here. You know, I wasn't going to do like a big breakdown on this one. Wasn't going to do a big breakdown. So with ducks hatched from eggs spared from slaughter, that dude in the video He's working to preserve the unique lineage of fowl that's allowed his family's farm to thrive, even as others on Long Island fell by the wayside. And it says, make way for ducklings. For months, Corwin and his reduced staff have been thoroughly sanitizing the farm's dozens of barns, clearing out hay and debris and replacing feeders, ventilation systems, wooden and metal structures, and more. At the end of May, the first wave of roughly 900 young ducks arrived from a nearby farm where they had been carefully raised in quarantine. Ooh, quarantine. These last few months. Okay, so that's it. Just wanted to show you some of that symbolism there with Kendrick Lamar, the Indiana Fever, Love Island, like Long Island. Don't forget, you got the Diddy trial. His last album was called The Love Island, or it was called The Love Album, excuse me, Off the Grid, which is kind of like an island, right? All right, so just a quick, easy one. Ducks return to a Long Island farm that lost its entire flock to the bird flu, trending just days after Kendrick Lamar Duckworth's birthday. Shout out to y'all. Until next time.